Hey, my inky crafty friends, it's Haley Dyer, the Inky Scrapper, finally coming to you live on this Thursday, March 26th, 2026. I hope you're doing well. I've got a couple things I want to show you this evening, and I'm going to finish by making a cross card that I think would be really, really lovely for Easter, and of course, christenings or any kind of Christian occasion. So if you're watching live, I hope you'll say hi. And if you're watching on replay, I hope you'll use the hashtag replay. I need to adjust over here and make sure that things are going according to plan. And yay, I think they are. Alrighty, it looks like you can see everything well enough. Kind of have a messy desk. So I've got a couple things to show you. Tomorrow night or evening at 5, I'm hosting my monthly Sip and Stamp. And we're going to use this sweet, I think it's really pretty, spring holiday happenings kit. Let me just bring that up to the calendar. It's 3 oval shaped cards. And of course, you could make them all thank yous. You don't have to use the sentiments provided and make them exactly as is, but that's the little stample. So I've got the stamp set. It comes with Mossy Meadow ink spot. When I divvy these up, I divide up the dimensionals, the little 2-sided dots, and all of the gems. These are like little dewdrops. So it's got these pretty laser die cut daisies. I'm just going to try to go through this quickly. These pretty little flowers, this little frame, a lot of little foliage that I've just punched out, 3 different banners, 3 different scalloped edges. Whoops, these are sentiment pieces. You've got these background pieces I'm not going to try to show, but I did want to show you the card bases because they have a really pretty, really light plaid design. I hope you can see that. So it's cloud cover, petal pink, and I believe daffodil delight. That one's really hard to see. And then you get 3 cloud cover envelopes. So the whole box makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs, but I divvy them up so that you make 3 cards each. And that's at 5 p.m. In my studio tomorrow. So let me move that out of the way. Sorry to go off screen for a minute. And then on Saturday at G&G Bakery here in town, I'm hosting a little bright, what is this? Wait, I get this name wrong, I'm sorry. Brighten Your Day kit class, 3 cards each. So I don't have this one divided up yet, but there's twine and I'll have it cut, ready to go. There's dimensionals and the double stick dots. So here are the beautiful envelopes. There's 1, 2, 3 of the 3 designs. So they're already pre-printed, and even on the backs, they're gorgeous. Then we've got these beautiful card bases in the 3 colors. It's like paint. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to come back to those. And then you've got 7, 8, 9. So again, I divide these up into 3, so it's 1 each of the 3 designs. And they have these gorgeous die-cut foliage frames that go over the top of the cards. There's a little vellum to separate each one. And of course, this one's my favorite with the birds. That probably gives you a good contrast right there. So again, these will be already divvied up into kits. And then there are different sentiments. They're, of course, color-coded. So let me turn this so I can read it. We have just a little note. Hope this brightens your day and you make the world a better place. And I'll probably have a little extras to jazz them up a little bit. But that's Saturday at noon at G&G Bakery. If you can come, let me know, because I just want to make sure I have enough kits ready. All right, now for some new product. I got the Garden Poetry, garden here. And I'm gonna, okay, wow, okay, I'm back. That was odd. Hopefully it was fine on your end. But I'm gonna flip through this garden party paper really quickly. Maybe really quickly. I should have started with this with the back, because this is Garden Poetry DSP. Berry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel, Coastal Cabana, Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Night of Navy, Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, and Shaded Spruce. So it goes a little something, actually, I think like this. Front, back, front, back. I love the watercolor effect and the different colors, how they blend so beautifully. Front, back. I can't wait to get inky. Front, back, front, back. I'm trying to space them out over here. Not doing a very good job. It's a lot to hold, like a deck of huge 12 by 12 playing cards. So front, back, and lastly, I'm tangled up here, front and back. So aren't those beautiful? We're going to be playing with these in my April 12th card class and scrapbooking class. So if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. I do need an RSVP so that I have enough materials prepared. And then this is the specialty paper that coordinates. I've forgotten the name of it. I think it's the garden, well, I have it over here, sorry. It's Garden Textures Specialty Foil Sheet, and you get 3 each of the colors. It's Berry Burst. I'm gonna bring this up closer. I don't know if you can see the texture on there. What beautiful shine. So Berry Burst, oh sorry, 2 each of 3 colors. Blueberry Bushel, and Shaded Spruce. How gorgeous is that? Y'all know I love the color green. Well, if you don't know, you do know now. I don't have a favorite color though. I like too many of them to choose a favorite. I think this color palette is gorgeous. So that, again, these are the textured Garden Textures Specialty Foil DSP. And I made this little bunny box live last week. I just wanted to show it again in case you missed it. I've posted it and have instructions. So reach out if you want to know more, but I just thought I would show that again really quickly before we begin tonight's card. Okay. I saw this card design in a couple of places, and I am thankful for the instructions from Terry Gaines. I adapted her card, and these are the measurements that I am using. This is really my sloppy handwriting. Feel free to take a screenshot if that's helpful. I'll go through this. And those of you who are in my customer VIP group know that you will get a typed, printed copy of this before, I would say before the week's out, but I don't really mean that because it's already Thursday, but soon enough. So this is the basis of our card, and I'm going to use this right here to help guide me on my instructions. I did go ahead and cut a few of the pieces, and I'll talk you through those, but let me just move them out of the way for now. And I die cut a few pieces that I think we're going to use on it. We'll see. One of the things that I realize I don't have here on my table is some twine. It's over at my other crafty spot. So I'll probably come back to that. Okay, so those die cut. The die cuts are from the Gallery Blooms stamp set and coordinating dies. Okay, I love this Thoughtful Journey DSP. As far as I know, it's still available, and so I thought this would be the DSP I would use with this card. And so I paired it with a Fresh Freesia card base. I thought Balmy Blue was a good mix, but it's not. It's probably more of like a Blueberry Bushel, but I didn't want a dark blue card, so I went with the Fresh Freesia. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut my card base. It's going to be 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm just going to line this up at 5.5. Got my cutting blade right here, and I'm going to give it a slice. Then I'm going to score it at 4.25 inches. That's just, okay, I'm going to slide that cutting blade back to the top so I don't mess up, but I'm going to score it at 4.25 inches. That's just your standard basic card fold. And then I want to score it again at 7 inches. So that means I'm going to have to open up my trimmer. Oh, there's a little latch. Sorry about that. Let me take this off and look at it from behind. There we go. Just going to extend that arm. Normally it's not that difficult. So here is my original score. I'm going to flip it over because I want these to be mountain and valley folds, and I'm going to score it at 7 inches. Oh, do you know what I just did? I used my cutting blade. So that's going to be a different card front for a different card. I hate when I do that. I wasn't being careful. So let's try that again. I'll show you a tip that I do sometimes, and I have some washi tape here. I actually will grab some washi tape and just kind of pin that blade out of the way, because that was a really rookie mistake. So let's try again. Nothing like a little live video. To score at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to flip it over and score at 7 inches. That's going to give me that mountain valley fold that I need. But the last thing that I want to do is trim off 1/4 inch of this front panel. That makes the cross centered on the card front instead of off centered like the original. And I just like the look of that a little bit better. So again, I'm going to trim 1/4 inch off. I know I'm supposed to use my cutting blade this time. So it's just a little cut, but it's an important one. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and fold this. And I didn't use two-tone cardstock on purpose. I wanted this to have the same color throughout. And use my bone folder to just burnish this. I like to do it from the back in case I make any kind of streaks. If you ever use a block to do this, you may find that it streaks it a little bit. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But again, I just want it to have a nice fold. I do need to cut, so there's the column of my cross. I'm sure there's a name for that. I also need a cross piece. Again, I'm sure these have names, but I'm not sure what they are. So I'm going to come back over here and see if I can use this piece. It needs to be 1 1/4 inches wide. So let me just check. This is 1 1/2. So at least I can use the piece I cut off by accident. So it's 1 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So let me just fix that. And again, this is the basis of our cross. And it's going to go across the front like that. So now I have the basis of my cross. And I don't, well, I do need my trimmer some more. I was going to say, I don't think I need my trimmer. We haven't cut this beautiful paper. Now, I already know that this needs to be 5 1/4 inches tall. And I think I'm going to cut that off the top instead of off the bottom. So I'm going to set this on my trimmer at 5 1/4 inches, and then just give that a slice. And this scrap piece, I can use either side. Probably should have shown you the back. Look how pretty that is. But I'm not using the back, I'm using the front. That's the one great thing about our DSP. So many of them, you're like, oh, I don't know which side to use. Okay. This left piece, I believe, has to be 2 1/2 inches. So I'm going to put this on here and make sure, yep, that left side is 2 1/2 inches going by my directions. So I'm going to place the left side here at 2 1/2 inches. And that's going to go right here on this panel. So I've got a little of that showing. And then I'm going to put the rest of it over here. And I think I'm going to use the far right side. I think that's going to be a good balance and save that center piece for something else. So I'm going to lay this in the track and see. I can't quite tell how much that is, so I'm going to go this way. This looks like that's 1 1/2 inches. Do y'all agree with that? I think so. But what I'm going to do to make sure is cut this piece instead of 1 1/2, but like 1 9/16. So it's got a little bit more to it. Okay, and that's going to go right here. So see how pretty that seam is? I like that a lot. And this will be used for something else. So let me get my trimmer out of the way. I did go ahead and cut a 4" by 5¼ inch panel to go here on the inside, knowing I'm going to cover up part of that with this piece here, but I thought it would be easier to line everything up this way. So notice I'm testing it first. Oh yeah, see how pretty that's going to open? Love that. So I've got my Stampin' Seal. That's kind of my preferred adhesive for big pieces like this. For intricate things or things that I've got to get just right, I will use my liquid adhesive. It's easier to get little small pieces, and if I need a little wiggle room, you can wiggle that one, the liquid glue around. Excuse me. Is the pollen getting to any of y'all? It's really high in our area. My car definitely shows it, and my sinuses definitely feel it. But I'm grateful that our dogwoods are starting to bloom. I think we've got a little dogwood winter coming up. Maybe it won't be too bad. Alrighty, so that's the inside of my card. And I'm going to go ahead, oops, here we go. This is the panel that I need for this left side. 1, 2, 3. Yep, I've got it turned correctly. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and add my cross. And I like how you can see that little border. I think that's really pretty. I think that's a really good ratio of the top to the bottom. So I'm going to add a little on here and a little, oops, there we go. I want to make sure to only have glue there on the center. Alrighty, I like that a lot. Oh, I do not like that. Now I like that a lot. It was crooked. And, you know, I probably should have adhered my DSP first. Let me see. How much trouble is that going to be to pull off? Yeah, I think it's too much trouble. No, I'm going to pull that off. It's okay because most of that's going to get covered. Sorry, but I pre-cut these two pieces of wood grain DSP. They are both 1 1/8 inch wide, so I cut a 1 1/8 inch by 12 inch strip out of this wood grain DSP, and then cut a 5 3/8 piece, this tall one, and a 3 5/8 piece. Again, I will repeat those. Ooh, well, we got to decide which side we like better. We can have, I'm just going to really carefully lay that down. A dark cross. Ooh, that's really handsome. Or we can have, careful now, I know I have, or we can have a light cross. I like both, but I think I like the dark cross better. So that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to go ahead, oops. Sometimes I got to get that started with my finger. Uh-oh. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot, but I want it to be stuck down really well. And I'm just eyeballing it. So you see how it's not a whole lot smaller, but you've got that pretty Fresh Freesia cardstock border. Okay, now I can add this piece. I'm going to do a little bit more adhesive across it here. Sorry if you're looking at the top of my head. And also sorry that I've got this all turned crooked. It is not your screen, it's me. It's totally me. Okay, so here is our basic cross card. And of course, I'll put something about Easter wishes on the inside, but I want to decorate it a little bit. Interesting how it covers up a lot of the flowers, but that's okay. It's still really pretty. So I did die cut a few pieces that I thought we could use on our cross. make it a little bit springy. These are all, like I said, from the Gallery Blooms dies. So I've got this one in Old Olive, and originally I cut this piece in the white, but decided you don't really see the flowers when I layer it, so I would just use the Mossy Meadow, so like this, and then I want to add this piece over the top. But this needs some color. So we're going to do a little technique work. I'm going to grab another mat so that I can get this one looking a little bit more decent, I guess. So I'm going to start with my Petunia Pop Stampin' Blends. I've got the dark and the light. I'm going to start with the light, and I want to use the brush tip in, and I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of color the flowers. I think that's a flower too. Kind of thistle-y, if that's a word. And then I'm going to add a little detail at the bottom of each one with the darker, just giving it some dimension. Isn't that amazing? Now I have some choices. I brought some different medium. I can try to use some Old Olive ink and do some blending, or I can use some Stampin' Blends. And because I have the little flower, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to use the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to use, sorry, the blending brush and ink. So I think I'm going to just use the Stampin' Blends. Use that brush tip in, and I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. These bleed a little bit, that's why I'm trying to be a little bit careful. But I'm not too worried about precise brush strokes. All right, let's get a few more spots. I think that I missed a spot here on the edge of this, so that's better. See? And then I'm going to add just a few details on these flowers with the darker color, because why not? I really like that. Alrighty, so back to our card. I'm going to turn all of these over. Like I said, this is where I really like the liquid glue. I think it's much easier to work with these pieces. That was scraps from the virtual card making retreat, so that's why it's not two-sided, but it was a perfect size for what I needed. Let gravity help me out a little bit here. So I'm just doing some little dots of the liquid glue, and I know we'll hold that in place, hopefully without sticking to me. I'm going to layer these. Okay. Now, since I already laid it out prior to coloring and whatnot, I think I can eyeball this and get this okay. Just trying not, I don't mind getting inky, but I don't want to get all gluey. Ooh, that was a lot more glue than I realized because it's squished out around the edge. So I just kind of use my fingers to pat that up. I'm okay with it not being adhered at the top there. I like that little dimension. I just want to make sure that it does stick well enough to the card that it doesn't fall off, because that's embarrassing. Ask me how I know that. All right, I think that I want to do a little bit of twine to the center there, but it is at my other table, so I will do it off camera and post a finished card. later. It'll probably be tomorrow because I like to take the pictures with some sunlight, and it's a little bit dark now. But that is a fun cross card that you could make for any occasion. And again, I will type up these directions, but if you want to snap a screenshot, by all means go ahead. And if you do make this card, or it inspires you to make anything, I would love to see what you create. So thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the very best. If there's anything I can do to help you with your crafting needs and connecting, I would love to do that. So thanks for watching. Take care, y'all. Be sure to get inky.